normally when you look up two things, you want to look them through thoroughly. You want to do your homework. Look at their pros, look at their cons, find out what makes them tick. I went and I looked back. Been looking at this thing for like at least 9 hours yesterday, just looking at these two sites, see what makes them click, see what works, what doesn't work. And I was like, okay, because I got my paper right here. I actually wrote down a couple of things just to break it down in its simplicity. And it's coming down to a number of things. What I'm talking about is these two sites that people keep referring me to as far as within the trade chat, this Warframe trading thing. You got Warframe.Market and you have Nexus. I'm familiar with Nexus because a number of people in the actual game says, yo, Nexus said this price is this. But then there's not much people talking about Warframe.Market though. So I was like, all right, let me go and check this out. When you go to Warframe.Market, you actually have to sign in order to get full use of the site. And what I mean by full use is that if you want to interact with somebody, like for example, if somebody wants to buy something and they have their price, if you want to message them, you actually gotta sign in. I was trying to do that. It was like, no, you gotta sign in. So I made up just made up an account and whatnot for now. And I remain invisible. And I was like, all right, let me message this guy. So then a couple minutes later, I was in game. He was like, oh, you're Kachi. I saw you message me in Warframe.Market. So I was like, oh, okay. And I realized on his name, he was actually in game. That's one of the things in Warframe.Market that they have, which is really exclusive from Nexus, is that you have a player interaction. Whereas in Nexus, there's no player interaction. And I'm going to go right into it as far as Warframe.Market's pros versus Nexus pros, and then I'll talk about their weakness. Okay, Warframe.Market, what it's really good at is that it has a direct number. What I mean by a direct number is that whatever price a certain item is, they actually have a price for it. Whereas for Nexus, they have a price, but it's not all items have a price. And what I mean by that is that you'll have like a mod or a prime part or whatever the case may be, and they don't have like a plat number set for it. So they gotta update that and whatnot. So Nexus is like a beta site. So again, some are priced, some are not. Okay. Warframe.Market, everything has a price on it. So again, it's updated. Now Warframe.Market, what it has is that it has an online status, and the status via player. So when you go to Warframe.Market, you actually have players there, whether you are on the site or you're in game, and you can see the player. When a player is on site, that means the player's on the actual site, not actually in game. Some players may be already in game, but they have their status as on site. Okay, now if you have another player that's in game, you can message that person, be like, yo, I want this or whatever, or if I'm selling this. It's like, okay. I already talked about Warframe.Market as far as player interaction. There's actually players in the Warframe.Market that are sitting there waiting for someone to message them, or if they're in game, they'll message them there. Yeah, player interaction. Now, what separates Warframe.Market from Nexus is that it has prices via player. That's how I have it written right here. Every player has a price of what they want to buy, or if it's for a part. Let's say Ash Prime helmet, they'll say Ash Prime helmet 15 plat, PM me. It's the same thing if you were to go into the chat right now and put that in there. Warframe.Market, it's its own trade chat in a sense, but it's online, and they have it something like that. It's not like in the game where you see the chat keep moving in real live time. In Warframe.Market, you got the players wanting this, they post it there, and they leave it there. Whoever messages them, and they will go to the game, or if they're actually on site, or if they're actually in game, and they'll message them there. Warframe.Market, as far as the site, it has a lot of options. There's a lot of options there where you could have minimum, you could pay as far as with the minimum, or you want to pay the max. So you could go to a person and message them, be like, what is the minimum amount you want to pay for this item? They'll tell you. Or if you want to say, what is the max you want to pay for this item? They'll tell you. Warframe.Market is really player friendly, very interactive. So you don't just put something in there and then that's it. You actually get to communicate with the said player and wondering what does he want, what does he don't want, does he want to pay the min, does he want to play the max, all this kind of stuff. So it's actually there. Now I'm going to talk about Nexus. Warframe.Market comparing with Nexus, it's like, how can I put this? Old school versus new school. Old school meaning you are interacting with that said person. You're not just putting something in there and letting the computer do what it does. Nexus is like the new school trade chat. What I mean by that is that it's percentage based. I'm going to use Nexus in a different light where it's like, let me see if I can put this. You know, in the NBA, you got your analytics and you have those guys that are like, I don't believe in analytics, I'm down to the raw stuff. That's what Nexus is. They're like, the Nexus is so analytic. They use more statistical breakdowns, and pretty much Nexus is a percentage base. They have weekly breakdowns as far as the parts. So it's like in week 6, there's 20 or 25% of the people buying this. And then by week 3, you have a percentage of people buying this for this amount. And probably like last week, they're buying this. And then today, the percentage is this. So every week, it fluctuates. So it breaks it down week by week. That's one thing that Warframe.Market doesn't have. They don't break it down by the week. Nexus does that. Now, Nexus has a supply and demand. Pretty much is like a want to buy versus want to sell percentage. See, I keep using that word, percentage. They keep using percentage to dictate the trade chat. So they'll have, for example, Rhino Prime. Because they have on the site that Rhino Prime is worth 400. So again, the amount of people that want to buy Rhino Prime is 35%. And then you have the people that want to sell Rhino is like at least 70-ish%. So there's more people selling versus wanting to buy. But the buy rate is 30-some-odd%. Okay, it's percentage based. But right here, this is what I'm talking about as far as with Nexus. Like, not all items have a price. You have something there and you want to see as far as how much does it cost. They don't actually have a plat number for it. So it's just completely blank. So you don't really know what that price of that is. At least with Warframe.Market, once you put it in, you get to see the player wanting that part or that set or that Warframe for this amount of plat. In Nexus, you don't have that because that item doesn't have a plat price for it. And the thing about with Nexus is that it's limited options. Warframe.Market has a lot of options. Nexus don't really have that much options. It's just limited. You have the item, you have the weekly breakdown as far as statistical standpoint, and you have the supply and demand. That's pretty much it. That's just Nexus right there in a nutshell. You have percentage, weekly breakdown, supply and demand. Warframe.Market, you have a direct number. There's an online status via player. You have player interaction. You have number of options. Whereas you could ask a player if they want to play the minimum or you want to play the maximum. Do you want to pay for this now? Because I'm online right now. Or do you want to message me back? All these kind of interactions that you could have with the player on Warframe.Market. You have no interaction with Nexus. It's pretty much a percentage-based site. And the thing about it is that whatever it is, they give you a percentage on it, and that's it. And whatever it is, you take that at face value, put it in the trade chat, and be like, okay, Nexus says this, I'm gonna put this in there, and that's it. So that's like the new school way of selling things as far as using Nexus. Whatever the number is, you take it, put it in there, see if somebody messages you, so on and so forth. Now, another person will be like, yo, why are you selling it for this amount? Some person could say, oh, I'm using Nexus. That's the price that that they say on Nexus. That person will be like, I don't care what Nexus says, I'm paying it for this. Well, not everybody knows about Nexus, not everybody knows about Warframe.Market, because it's the same kind of deal. The only people that know about Warframe.Market are people that are using Warframe.Market. And the only people that know about Nexus is the people that are using Nexus. So again, it's a preference thing all in all. If I had to choose between the two, I'm gonna go the old school way, which is Warframe.Market. The reason why I'm saying Warframe.Market is because you have player interaction. You get to actually message the person on the site. Nexus, you can't message nobody because, again, you can't sign in, you can't talk to anybody. It's a percentage-based site where everything is percentage-based. You have a percentage, weekly breakdown statistics, and you have supply and demand. That's pretty much it. They have stuff as far as with categories where they have primes, arcanes, all this stuff. Warframe.Market already has that, but Nexus breaks it down into categories. So again, it's really up to you which site you want to use. Whether you're a percentage guy, you can use Nexus. If you are a direct guy when you want to have player interaction, Warframe.Market, because again, in the end, you're gonna be interacting with the player. So that is pretty much my breakdown as far as with these two sites. If you ask me, I don't even use both of them. I don't even use them because I've been trading for as long as most of y'all been playing in this game. Talking about like way back, and I already know how to handle the trade chat as is. For the people that don't even want to bother with the trade chat because, you know, it's cancerous and all this kind of stuff, this is where they go to, and I completely understand. But if you want to keep that player interaction, go with Warframe.Market. But if you want to use the statistical breakdown week by week stuff, use Nexus. It's up to you. But me, I just don't use either of them because they don't offer no benefit for me, because again, I know what I'm doing in the trade chat. I know how to talk to people, handle with people as far as what they want or don't want. You see me at times, even when I finish a trade, I be saying, yo, is there anything else that you may want? I may have what you want. Message me back, hit me up. That's player interaction right there. So you can practically say I'm using Warframe.Market strategy in this case after I'm done selling what I need to sell. So I already know how to handle said customer. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is.